Hey guys, Scott Fishman here. Today I have the great opportunity, I should say, to welcome Cesar Duran, of course, matchmaker for Major League Wrestling MLW, as well as the proprietor for Azteca Underground, Azteca Lucha. Hey Cesar, how are you doing today?
Very good. How are you doing?
Good. So, of course, it's crazy to think, it was about 10 years ago, where Lucha Underground kind of got its footing, and then you became this character and kind of became such a popular character. So when as you reflect today and, now you're back on the scene after a couple of years, tell me about just looking back and what it meant. You come from the acting background of kind of entering, pro wrestling and having it this organically happen where you became now, such a popular figure.
Well, I was completely brand new. I mean, I had zero knowledge about wrestling. I had the knowledge that anybody as as an audience, regular audience, not like a fanatic fan. But immediately it caught my attention. It's like it's a bunch of people putting their lives at risk for our enjoyment. I mean, beat that. So I started getting a lot of respect for the wrestlers because people don't know what they have to go through. And then, unfortunately, we had an incident like El Hijo del Perro died in one of the tapings, and that for me was life transforming. From then on, it became like a religion. Like wrestling is something that even people that follow wrestling and they're like good fans because they've been following for years, they still don't know what was behind the scenes and the hours and hours of practice of these athletes is definitely a whole universe that it could be endless. There's room for improvement. That's why probably the character that I started doing had a chance because I was doing something new. But there's room to do new things everywhere in this industry, in the wrestling world.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wish I knew what I know now.
Well, it's hard for, when someone from the outside comes in and you're a relative unknown, it's hard, a lot of times wrestling fans, it's hard to accept someone, but you kind of really, you could see that you really kind of enjoyed the character and it really resonated. Kind of compare, who you are today in MLW and what you took from, Dario Cueto in Lucha Underground.
Well, everything. All I learned about wrestling, I did it through Dario Cueto, through Lucha Underground. Uh, I mean, it's just different leagues. This character is not Dario Cueto anyway. Cesar Duran has his own, his own ambitions, and I think Dario Cueto was more devilish. To me, I was literally the devil reincarnated.
Yeah.
I wanted to take all the wrestlers that weren't respecting my industry because to me, to Dario Cueto, the whole reason why wrestling exists is because, and this is something that I may be making it up, but I think there's some truth on it. Back in the day when the Greeks started doing these wrestling fights, they used to take people that they thought they were possessed by the devil or totally crazy, and they make them fight naked. Then the Romans made a show out of it, and that's how the Greek lucha Greco-Romana, I call it, and the Greek-Roman fights came up, which was the wrestling concept from the Greeks, liberating someone from the devil, because the one that was surviving was supposed to get rid of the devil, and the devil was passing to the one that died.
Hmm.
Okay, now the way I took Cesar Duran is like the devil is coming back here, and all these wrestlers are not committed to what it is, what wrestling is, and I'm gonna take them with me. If you're not good, I'm gonna make everything in my power to make you die as a wrestler. You
Hmm.
could do something else in the world, but if you're not good enough, I will kill your life. That's the way.
Except except in Lucha Underground, they would be killing. Where-
Yes, too soon, but yeah.
Well, I mean, with the characters,
Oh, oh yeah, yeah,
Mil
no, definitely.
Muertes and all these supernatural, characters.
Yeah. Now, Cesar Duran. Cesar Duran is a businessman. He knows what he's doing. I mean, he started as a matchmaker in MLW, but he's got really big plans.
So we're just at the start of it, you'd say.
This is the beginning.
What I love about, what I loved about Lucha and I love about MLW is the long-term storytelling. I mean, you have, Alexander Hammerstone holding the MLW title for so long. Their long title reigns and, stories that play over time. One of the things that's happening right now, I mean, you see the influence that Lucha Underground has had on wrestling overall. But also in MLW they've continued to welcome, Lucha Libre and really embrace that. I think that really what separates MLW from other products that we're seeing is, there's such it's kind of a different presentation in many ways, an international flavor. For you though, you're seeing a lot of familiar faces again from, Lucha Underground and, John Hennigan, Taya. Talk about what's like for you to kind of reunite with them and kind of at this stage in this kind of environment.
To me, they are the best in the industry because that's what I know. I feel like I grew up with them, and when you see a fight on TV and when you see it live, they're two different concepts altogether. If someone is very good, a wrestler is very good live, it's like 10 times more exciting to see it live. If they're not good, it's the opposite of it, right? Well, these people, everybody from Lucha Underground wants to come with us. Even people that are on WWE, when they knew I joined MLW, they call up.
Oh, really?
Well, I have my doors up, and I think you know what people I'm talking about. They're doing very well, because it was such a family, Lucha Underground. So that's what we're getting it back. That family feeling is happening now at MLW whenever we have an event. So it's lovely that they all come because I mean the talent of those guys from Lucha Underground is amazing.
Yeah.
So slowly I'm gonna make a very impressive team that is gonna make a lot of noise.
Okay. Well, what did it mean to you? It's interesting you say you didn't really grow up like as a wrestling fan, traditional wrestling fan, but John Hennigan has gone on the record and called you a modern day throwback to everything great about a manager in the 80s. So talk about kind of when you hear those words, that high praise from someone who's been in the business for so long, kind of what does that mean to you? And what do you take that in? Do you watch a lot of old product to kind of get inspiration?
Well, I did, but I think the timing of that comment is very important as well because maybe he was going after something else. He wanted me to know.
Ulterior motive.
You can. I love John, but you can't trust him. So yeah, we can't take that out of context.
Okay. Do you watch a lot of product from back in the day? Do you get a lot of recommendations? Of course, Court Bauer, big on wrestling history, as we see with the generational talent that we see on this roster. So does he kind of make recommendations for you to kind of watch?
Yeah, I do because I always ask what's your favorite fighter, and yeah, I check some of the footage from back in the day. Yeah, I have.
Anyone in particular?
Well, I've seen all the classics like I won't remember all there was this classic fight that it lasted 15 minutes. It was with Andre the Giant and what was this mythic? It took forever to get him down and eventually he fall down. I'm not gonna remember, but Andre the Giant was one of that I started watching. Piper. This recommendation came from DJ in Lucha Underground. Just Piper, what's his name?
Roddy Piper. So Roddy Piper, you saw a little Andre the Giant, maybe look back at a Hulk Hogan match, the Pontiac Silverdome match, seeing the energy of the crowd, which is, that's the most important thing is getting the crowd invested. So, what did, the big announcement that happened, of course, and we're still a couple of weeks in only into this next huge opportunity for MLW for more exposures to be on reels. Tell me about what's the feeling of the locker room? What's the feeling of, that you're getting from everyone about this next kind of era for MLW as it continues to kind of build its way up? I
Well,
think back a couple years ago when, I was talking to Court and it was only going to be like a one night return, and now it's gone and grown into this. So it's pretty incredible.
well, you get the feeling everyone wants to make this a big thing. Um, Reason being is when I joined, it was right after the pandemic. I mean, we were still in the middle of it. It was 2020.
Right.
So the first time that we were able to have a show in Philadelphia, everybody was so committed to the show, to put the best show possible. That at the same time created this family energy between all of us. So, I mean, behind the scenes, uh, there's certain, conflicts of personalities, like in any industry. Here, maybe they're a little bit bigger, accentuated because of the characteristics of it, because they're gonna beat the shit out of each other in the ring. But I would say that 98% of the people, we love each other. We help each other when we can, and if someone is having a very bad night, you see them like rehearsing and rehearsing the fight. Um, they really take care for each other. That's what I see. It's a great feeling. That's why I believe this is gonna go big places.
Just the beginning here. Um, as far as you come from a lot of people know you from pro wrestling and these two characters, but you have a pretty long list. You go on IMDb or something of your resume with acting. So coming from that side of things, kind of how would you feel like maybe what have you helped kind of backstage at MLW, a lot of the newer talent who aren't used to maybe even being on television and telling stories more. It's good to have the moves and the big moments, but it is about telling the story and delivering promos and things like that. So have you kind of been involved at all with any particular talent, or talk a little bit
Yeah,
about
well, I always, I before shooting a scene, for example, I always share a background story that we may have, like moments, something that may happen before, even though it's not on the script. But yeah, I like to go through those ideas with them, because then they get into the mood without knowing it. And then when the camera starts rolling, they're really there. They're really present.
that? Hmm.
So it's easier than it looks. I mean, people are very talented. Bear in mind, the best wrestler is the best storyteller. When you're in the middle of a fight, if there's not a storyline happening, that fight is not appealing. They may be doing very spectacular acrobatics, but if you don't read the story of what's going on in the ring, that fight is not appealing.
Right.
So they're all actors underline, but they don't know. They just have to be. The problem is that when you're in a ring, you know what you're capable of doing, so you feel confident. You're not conscious of the cameras. You don't even know where they are. Whereas when you're shooting a scene, the camera is right there in front of you. So they just have to be really committed to a backstory, and that's when they're very present and they're very good actors. So yeah, I always do that.
Is there
I
anyone in particular like really impressed by that you're like, wow, you could really do not only wrestling but really do movies and TV shows and things? Who kind of really kind of has that potential, you think?
John Morrison is a very good actor, and Taya is a very good actress as well, both of them. Then I mean, every even Alex Hammerstone is really good. Oh, it makes me feel when we're doing the scene.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, I would say everyone. I'm trying to answer the question the other way. I'm trying to find a moment where I didn't feel it, and I don't have that example. I think with all of them, I felt the scene, and I want to believe that if I felt it, they did feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're calling, different scenes. It's like your approach to the business. Everyone kind of has a different approach to the business and what they see, but it's all through the grand overall goal, which is entertaining and making people feel at home and in the crowd. So it's interesting.
Yeah, no,
Um,
for me, even
yeah.
if I promo in the ring with the audience, it's a scene for me. So
Hmm.
the ending of it, and there's something that we want to achieve with it. That's the way I took it. Yeah.
Are we
Yeah.
gonna see you in the ring again? Any
Yeah.
matches coming up?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm on another show now. That's why I couldn't go to the last tapings. But yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. Definitely.
So, obviously, Mayans is something you're shooting, I believe. But
Yeah,
how
we're not.
talk a little bit about, just being able to go on other projects. How do people look at wrestling when you go into an audition?
Well, whoever is a fan of wrestling, they when I go to set, they all go like, "Oh my God!" and they want a picture, think signing something. Which you have very famous actors on set, but if they're a fan of wrestling, then they for some reason they come to me. Um, but yeah, there's some people that don't know about it because they don't follow wrestling. But the ones that are not that do follow wrestling, yeah, they're very happy when they see me on set, and I'm very happy that they're around.
Do you have an instance of one of those stars that did, you know, know you from, either MLW or Lucha or wherever?
Yeah, I don't want to say, but yeah, yeah.
All
You
right.
mean famous people? Like
Yeah, like someone, an actor you worked with on set or something. You said the actors come up to you. I was just curious if there's one in particular that you can mention.
yeah. I don't know how they feel if I disclose that they're wrestling fans. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
are they closeted wrestling fans? Is that what you're saying?
So yeah, because
Okay. Is uh,
they, they go as very intellectual, but then you realize that they love sports too. Yeah.
so what about, give me like a hint, you'd say.
Oh, come on.
Who do they rhyme? What does the name rhyme with? Give me something.
People that I've worked with. So if you go through the IMDb, look for some of the projects and
I
use
knew
your
you were gonna go
imagination.
there.
You won't be far off. You won't
Okay.
be far off.
Okay. That's good to hear. You mentioned, oh, go ahead.
Wrestling is a sport that is more loved than people think.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. It's always fun though when
Yeah.
you run into someone who you never know is even a wrestling fan. So that's always fun to see. Um uh as far as the future of MLW, where would you like to see what's something that maybe we're not seeing right now or something that you want to see more of on the show now that it's on this new network?
Um, all the guys that I'm gonna bring in, they're gonna make this show something that is gonna take audiences from other promotions very fast. You wait and see. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm
Okay.
obsessed with having a big component of lucha libre into MLW,
I'm
and I think
excited to see
that
that.
the audience is bringing, they will love it. So I'm trying to put more lucha libre style into the mix.
Okay. Anything you can tease about Mayans?
If I do, I'm disclosing the storyline. If I do,
Okay. But
but
we can look forward to seeing you on it. We'll leave it at that.
let's leave it there. I don't want to get in trouble.
Any other projects coming up you want to let people know about?
No, but but this is gonna be in summer, but it's not close. Something Disney approach for something about kids in a kind of like a boarding school that they're like rascals, and so I play the principal, and kind of it's Disney. It's a happy ending kind of feeling.
So completely different. I mean, you're still an authority figure, but this is Disney here, so completely different. So is that a TV show or a movie?
A TV show. It's a TV
Okay,
show.
awesome. All right. Well, of course, fans can also see you, MLW, as well as the other stars of MLW, and look forward to seeing who you're going to be bringing in, who Cesar Duran's going to be bringing in. MLW Underground on Reels at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And of course, MLW Fusion exclusively on Pro Wrestling TV Thursdays at 8 p.m. Is there anywhere you want people to follow you? Let people know about your socials?
I'm not very active on social media, but I have I have an Instagram account, but it barely has any followers. It's called Viega and Co. Viegaandco.
All right. Well, we got to get some more followers there for you. Thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it. And congrats on everything.
A pleasure.